Good morning. Welcome to the Windsor Star News Cafe. I'm Don MacArthur here with Dylan Christie and Star opinion columnist Anne Jarvis.
Hi, guys.
Yeah,
Welcome.
exactly. Welcome back. A big day. You laid out today your endorsements, your council picks in the 10 wards. Not necessarily who's going to win, but who you think the best person is.
Right.
And
this didn't come lightly. You put in your research. You've interviewed
yeah.
all the candidates. Can you just tell us first what went into, I guess, what your process was in selecting these candidates?
Well, that was something I had to sort of figure out because there are a lot of candidates, as you know, 50 odd, I think, in the wards, somewhere around 54, 55. So what I decided to do was early on, right after nominations closed, I looked up everything I could about all the candidates. So I looked in our digital library, I looked on their websites, Facebook, Twitter, everything that there was. And then I sort of whittled it down a bit there because I knew that I probably wasn't going to be able to speak to every single one. And then I kind of made a bit of a who to watch kind of list. And then I went through and spoke to everyone that I was interested in. And that's what went into it.
Cool.
Okay. Let's just break it down ward by ward. Let's start Ward 1.
Well, Ward 1, I initially was looking at two people, Daniel Abelser and Denise Gannam. And again, this was after going through all the platforms and just kind of watching, the campaign announcements. And I went to, well, in some of the wards, I went to some of the debates as well. So I felt that both were very smart. Denise is also very accomplished, long record in community service, solid background in business. She had knocked on a lot of doors, but then her husband is a firefighter. And to me, given the current situation between the city and the firefighters over the restructuring, I felt that was a bit of a conflict. Now I asked her about that via email later on, and she said that when it came to contracts, that would be a pecuniary interest. However, she felt that in other matters such as the fire stations and what she called a reduction of service would not be a conflict. And maybe not technically so, but I felt it was an awful lot of baggage, and that it would be difficult for her to look at this possibly in the best interest of taxpayers. So Daniel Abelser was the other one I was looking at. Smart guy, very reasoned. I like his answers when it comes to have we had a tax freeze or not. The Auditor General and some other issues. Just very reasoned. He looks at both sides. He doesn't sort of have a knee-jerk reaction. And he had a platform out in July on Facebook, and it covered a lot of ground. A very comprehensive view. So that was why I ended up going with Daniel.
Cool. Now, Ward 2 is a very important ward. As you mentioned, there's the bridge, there's Indian Road. Who's your pick for Ward 2?
Joan Mavernack. She is the doctor recruiter for Windsor, Essex. Very smart woman, very driven, a real go-getter. She's been able to accomplish an awful lot in a very difficult field. She's recruited something like close to 400 doctors. And this has not been easy. In many of those cases, she's helped them get their licenses because they've trained outside of Canada. Some are Canadians who trained outside Canada. Others, many of them in the United States. And many of them, she's helped them get their immigration papers. She's had to work with the hospitals, with the province, and with the doctors. Anyone I feel that can get this done, what she's done in a difficult field like that, it really is obviously someone who can deliver. But her position on the bridge was unequivocal. She understands very clearly what we're up against with the bridge, and she, is not willing to cave, basically. She knows that if you demolish those houses, they're going to try and put up a truck plaza, and we do not want a truck plaza there. And she believes that there are other options other than sort of sitting there and letting those houses sit there rotting for years and years. She believes that there are ways that we can take back those streets. So
Excellent. Now the heart of the city, Ward 3.
Yeah, Ward 3. There was Caroline Postma there, but you know, she was on council before, as you know, and chose not to run last election. She basically, at the time, had enough. So I felt that, you know, to come back 4 years later, I wasn't sure whether, you know, how much of a commitment there was there. And Reno Bordelin, he really impressed me. You know, he said that we expect all the basics that people are talking about. He said these are things that we expect. We expect you to fix the roads. What he was looking at was things that make real change. And I felt that that's a good way to look at it. You know, I thought we should expect more. We should set the bar higher. And his what he wants for the downtown neighborhoods, I felt was he feels that you have to sort of revitalize the neighborhoods around downtown in order to revitalize downtown, because you need to have people there, and that's a you know, it's a very good point, and they're great neighborhoods. So my vote goes to him.
Excellent. Now the hard decision.
Yeah, Ward 4.
Ward
Like
4.
there's a million good candidates in Ward 4.
Yeah, Ward 4 is really tough, and honestly, I was going back and forth between who I thought were the top three: Remy Boubol, Chris Holt, and Adriano Chodley. So I finally picked Chris Holt. I think he's the right person at the right time. You know, his view of neighborhoods, he hasn't sort of jumped on a bandwagon. He has had the same view of, you know, walkable, livable, quality neighborhoods for a long time, dating back to his blog that he used to have, Scale Down Windsor. Yeah. And I really think that, you know, we've done a lot of big ticket items. We've done the pool and the arena, etc. I think it's time for Windsor to look at its neighborhoods, and I think you know, great neighborhoods really do make great cities. And he is the guy with the vision for neighborhoods, so he's the guy.
Okay. And Ward 5, you came out, you wrote a column on this guy, Randy Diestelman.
Yeah. Now, of course, Ed Sleeman is the incumbent there, and Ed is a very nice guy, as everybody says, and he does work hard in the ward. But I felt that Diestelman was somebody who would come up with more. He would come up with big ideas. And what really impressed me most about him, I guess, was what he's already done. He moved his business to Drouillard Road. I mean, the bank wouldn't even give him a mortgage for the property there because they don't give mortgages on Drouillard Road. People thought he was crazy. He did it anyway, and he has really become a part of the solution there. And that neighborhood has, and that street in particular, has tremendous potential. And he's gone in there and taken a big leap and done a lot. So I think he deserves it, and I'd like to see what he could do on council.
Excellent.
Okay.
Now you say, sorry, Ward 6?
I think we should cap it. Should we cap it here?
Oh, sure, yeah.
We're going to cap it here. That was Anne Jarvis breaking down wards 1 to 5. Read her column. We're going to do another video. Anne Jarvis, she's going to break down wards 6 to 10. We're in the Windsor Star News Cafe.